Welcome back to the James McGee Show. I am your host. I am James McGee, and welcome to another week of the Daily Dose. Thank you all for making last week was our first week of the Daily Dose going live 7 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time every morning. It was very successful. I appreciate everyone tuning in live. Those who didn't tune in live that tuned in later, that the thousands and thousands of views that we got on our shorts that we produced from the live. It was a very successful week, and I appreciate everybody coming on. I hope you had a great weekend. I know that I did. Had a really good weekend. We spent the weekend setting up Christmas lights. I know it's a little early, but this is our first year of putting exterior lights on our home. And it was my daughter's idea, and she was in town this weekend. So we chose this weekend. We're going to be taking a trip for Thanksgiving. So we decided that this weekend was the best weekend. It was fun. It was a great time, and I hope you had a good weekend too. One thing that is for certain when I do any show, you never know what I'm going to say. But one thing is for certain, I'm going to say something controversial. That's why I do this. It's not controversial to be ugly. It's not controversial to be mean. It's thought-provoking. I'm going to provoke your thoughts. That's why I do this. And I have, I'm a free man now. My speech is free. My speech was not free for years and years and years. When you work in public service, especially when you work for politicians, and I'm not knocking it, I had a great career and worked for some great people. You can't say the things that you want to say. Now I can, and I am. And I'm going to speak for people who can't say the things they want to say. I'm going to be their voice, particularly. I'm going to be the voice for cops. They deserve it. So one thing that really concerned me last week, and it still concerns me, is the government shutdown. I think it is absolutely horrendous. We have some really sick politicians on both sides of the aisle, in my opinion. But it proves a point. What it did is a couple concerns that things we all should be concerned about. The 42 million people who were depending on SNAP benefits that may or may not have got them on November 1st. But bigger than that, and what I said, bigger than that was the concern of why we have 12% of this nation receiving SNAP benefits, food stamps. That should concern everyone. So I had some comments, and one of them was from a dear friend of mine. Now, I'll tell you this. At near 55 years old, I'm not trying to, definitely not trying to change. I'm not trying to pretend who I am. I don't have to. And I'm not trying to justify the way that my stance is on things. But I will explain a little bit more about why I feel strong about certain things. Why I feel strong about people being dependent upon other people, especially the government. Has the federal government, and I love America. I'm a proud American. But our government, name one thing they have done that they've been really, one program, hey, we're going to take this over. We're going to provide this, or we're going to do this. Natural disasters, they fuck it up. COVID, we don't even want to get started on that. So why are we depending on the federal government for anything or anybody for anything? That's not the way our country was designed. That's not the principles our country was built on. So one of the shorts that I did from one of my lives I said that there's a bunch of videos on TikTok of people complaining that we're about to lose their SNAP benefits, and it was sickening the mentality that uh, people owe them. Nobody owes you anything. And what I said was, I didn't see one video of one person that said, "Hey, I'm about to lose my SNAP benefits. My family needs to eat. Can I come and cut your grass? Can I come clean your house? Can I come wash your car? Is there anything I can do to earn money so my family can eat?" Well, the comment that I got was, uh, a lot of people who are receiving benefits work, and they're not freeloading. Well, I understand that. I totally understand that. I totally understand corporate greed. I understand people are way underpaid. I think the minimum wage is just, there's no way people can make it on any type of minimum wage we have in this country. I think we have a lot of work that needs to be done when it comes to corporate greed, minimum wage. I absolutely think that. But my point is, it's the mentality of people. That's my whole point, is the mentality um, is, thanks, Tyler. Thank you for coming. You're always here with us, man. I appreciate that. And you're 2 hours behind us, and I appreciate you getting up early and listening to us. So yeah, it always comes from a good place, the things that I say, and I just want people to understand that nobody owes them anything. So here is absolutely my point, is we have to stop teaching. Well, this is what my biggest concern is. We are teaching, and we are allowing people to be dependent, and we're teaching this culture. We have become a systemic welfare culture that that's not what our country is. We don't have a socialist country. People are trying to turn it to socialism, but we do not have a socialist country. It was not designed that way, and it should never be that way. My point is, you should have a plan B. We've established nobody's coming to save you, and the world does not give a fuck. I end this show with that saying every single day, and it's because it's the truth. Nobody cares. People act like they care. Nobody really cares. You know why? Because they have their own shit to worry about. But even though, I'm a giving person, I try to give whenever I can. Back in my day, back in the old days, the covered wagon days of police work, we didn't have a homeless problem where we do now where I live. We didn't have one back then in the 90s. But what we did, we live on I-10, Interstate 10, which, man, runs through several states. We had a transit problem. We would have people just in transit. You would run across them. I can tell you this, and I made no money, and I guarantee you there were times that I fed somebody with the money that I had to eat on that day. Now, I'm not trying to pour me. Then, I'm a fortunate guy. Even back then, broke. I was fortunate. I have a great family. I had everything. I had everything that I needed. So I do believe in helping people. But the problem is we're teaching people, not helping. It's not helping anymore. We are instead teaching the principles. Instead of the principles that have worked for 250 years, we're teaching victimhood. We're teaching that we're allowing people to believe that they are owed something. Nobody owes you anything, especially our government. We as communities, we as people, as other Americans, should help people when we can. And I help people every time that I can. But that's not the government's job. Freedom is the most cherished thing that we have in this nation. We always talk about freedom, but how are we free when we are expecting the government to support us? That's not freedom. Because like we said last week, when you give the government the power to feed you, you're giving them the power to starve you. When you give the government the power to feed you, you're giving the government the power to starve you. Nobody should have that type of power. My thoughts are real simple. Help people when they are truly in need, but stop teaching that is the norm. Stop teaching handouts and start teaching hand ups. Give people a hand, pull them up. I've been pulled up. I've been pulled up in life. I've been in hard times and I've had people help me. But that didn't become the norm in my life. And what I do now, when I can help somebody, I pull them up and help them. That's the way that it should be. Pull them out of the hole that they got themselves in. Teach them, you got yourself in a hole. I'm going to help you get out of that hole. We are, as a community, as fellow Americans, are going to help you get out of that hole and get you self-reliant again. That's the goal. Whether it's government assistance, whether it's assistance from nonprofits, from churches, the goal is not to support you for the rest of your life. The goal is to get you self-reliant again. It is not fair to, not only is it not fair to other Americans who's flipping the bill, and when people like me talk like that, say those things, conservatives, everybody thinks that we're just callous. We're not callous. It's not fair, not only to us, it's not fair to them. How is it fair to teach them to be a prisoner? You're a prisoner and you're dependent on other people when this happens. We're teaching them that they are worthless. We're teaching them they can't fend for themselves. That's not what they should be taught. That's not what they should be instilled. So instead, we need to teach them that the harsh reality of life. And when I say that the world doesn't give a fuck and nobody cares, it sounds so harsh. It's fucking reality. Nobody cares. Nobody is coming to save you. It sounds real callous and morbid when I say that. What if you're a 17, 18-year-old? Your parents all of a sudden get killed in a car wreck together. What are you going to do? What's your plan B? What is your plan B? To now you're on your own. They didn't leave you anything. They didn't have life insurance. They didn't have. What's your plan B? What are you going to do? Now you got to eat. Always think about a plan B. No matter your career, what happens, especially cops. There's a war on police. If you survive the war on police with your life, what if you don't survive with your job? What if you get caught up in something? What if you get accused of something? And people are scapegoats every day in this profession now. What's your plan B? What do you know how to do? Can you fall back on something? Do you know how to weld? Do you know how to, do your carpenter? Where's your plan B? Always think about a plan B. We should have a plan B in life for everything. Single moms. There's a lot of you out there. What's your plan B? I'm tired of hearing and seeing videos. Well, I'm a single mom. And again, I have more passion when it comes to, I'm not callous. I'm the opposite when it comes to that. Quit teaching our daughters to be dependent, to be, the housewife days is over. It's over. My daughter, I have no plans when she gets married to get involved in her life. I mean, I'm going to be in her life, but I'm not telling her what to do. She won't listen anyway. I mean, she asks for advice, but she's a strong-willed. She is an independent person. That's what I raised. I didn't raise a princess. Her mother and I raised a warrior. The only time she will hear something out of me, and I will strongly condemn the day that she decides that she wants to stay home. I don't care how much money whoever she marries makes. That's not okay. Because what happens when that goes away? What happens if that goes away? We have a divorce rate of 50% in this nation. Nobody enters a marriage thinking they're going to get divorced, but 50% of them happen that way. What's your plan B? Do we want our daughters in situations they can't get out of because they are dependent upon a man? Nobody should be dependent upon another human for anything, especially women should not be dependent upon anything. Should know how to make their own money, should know how to change their own tire, should know how to defend themselves physically. That's the world that we live in. And that's the culture we have to start teaching instead of this poor me, everybody owes me something culture. That's my point. So let's talk about Mama Luke of the day. And to recap, Mama Luke is Italian American slang for buffoon. So who is the biggest buffoon of the day? Jasmine Crockett, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who hates the police, who wages war on the police, who entered her political career with not much of a net worth, now has a net worth of millions and millions of dollars at making $174,000 a year. It was recently discovered that Jasmine Crockett has failed to report stock that she has in 25 different companies, which is making her a multi-millionaire. Been saying it for a long time. Jasmine Crockett is a fraud. She is a phony, and she is a piece of shit. And you know what she is today? Yes, she is a Mama Luke. So congratulations, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett shit. You are today's Mama Luke. Until tomorrow, remember, the world doesn't give a fuck. Nobody is coming to save you. McGee is